As you all know by now, especially if you watch this show, Sound United will be acquiring Onkyo, Integra, and Pioneer, and subsequently, whether it's related or it's not related, Marantz's longtime golden ear is leaving European operations. We don't know if it's truly because he's retiring, if he just saw this as an opportunity. And ultimately, it doesn't matter, because what I wanted to address today was a common thread that I noticed in the comments, which was that moves like this are inherently bad. And I don't think that that's true. I don't. I do believe that any time that you are kind of approaching or encroaching upon monopoly, that is inherently bad. And Sound United, after the acquisition of Onkyo, Integra, and Pioneer, will control a majority or large portion of the specialty AV marketplace, especially as it relates to AV receivers and components in that kind of segment. That does not necessarily always mean a negative outcome. And the reason I say that is because I think we need to kind of get over something really quick, and something that I'm going to be addressing pretty heavily on this channel as we move forward. And that is that either you have to spend a certain amount of money to get quality, or inexpensive equipment can't possibly be good. I think a lot of people that read the Sound United news look at, well, either one of two or three things is going to happen. All of the products are going to become the same, which is something that I argue is likely going to happen. Parity will become much more commonplace in this type of an environment. But that doesn't mean that if you have a platform that is good and you have a platform that works and performs well at a price point that more people can afford, well, who cares if it is spread across multiple brands that gives these people access to owning said good quality tech? So parity isn't a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's just kind of a thing. And it's something that in today's marketplace, we just have to sort of accept. Now, as far as, well, this will allow Sound United through their brands to dominate the market and thus either jack up prices or decrease prices to the point where other brands not owned by Sound United can't compete, thus maybe driving them out of business or driving them to the point where maybe Sound United could later acquire them as well. Well, that's just kind of frickin' business, you know, and I don't love it personally, but I also don't hate it. It's just the kind of the nature of the beast. And ultimately, if they fix the prices, they're not likely going to go up, because there's only so much money people are willing to pay for these brands, and that has been established over time. If they go down, well, crap. I mean, it means that the Denon receiver you were able to buy in 2018 or 2019 may cost less in 2020 or 2021, in which case, good for you, the consumer, right? Let's face it, a lot of consumer electronic purchases are emotional, not necessarily spur of the moment, but they are immediate gratification type purchases. And if you can buy an AV receiver for $100 less than you did the year before, people are going to do that. So getting upset over, oh, but this could mean this and that could be, at the end of the day, ultimately it's going to benefit you, the purchasing consumer. So let's not get too hung up there and start, you know, citing the end of the world scenarios. The third thing is that if in fact this means there's parity, and if in fact this means that prices go down, that ultimately means that quality also suffers. And that's really the third topic that I want to focus today on. This is going to be a bit of a rant, I suppose, because I'm so sick and tired of this mentality that cheap products, and I mean cheap as in inexpensive cost-wise, can't possibly be good. That just, it annoys me. As time progresses, as technology advances, there's only one way for prices to go, and that is to get less expensive, because it becomes cheaper to manufacture things. You're talking about quantities of scale. There are so many more factors that go into something being able to be made inexpensively than just, oh, they're making crap. Hypothetically, at least from my perspective, I don't know of anyone, present company included, that wakes up on a daily basis, looks themselves in the mirror and says, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to make pure, unadulterated. No one does that. No one does that, and any company that did do that, honestly, wouldn't be in business. So let's just be okay with the fact that some things are going to get more affordable or become less expensive, and that's okay. I hear a lot of you, and I'm not disparaging you, but I hear a lot of you, and you leave comments like, oh, well, I guess that means, vintage this and secondhand that. And I agree. There are a lot of benefits and a lot of perks to buying secondhand, buying used, buying vintage equipment. Metalwork might be better, tactile feel, point-to-point wiring, things of that nature may all be very appealing and may be something that you want. And yes, things are not built that way. But they were built that way back then because that was state of the art for the time. And we have advanced. So let's not mince words here. There are a lot of designers who made products in the 70s and 80s that wish they had access to the types of technologies, platforms, manufacturing capabilities that brands have today. And there are a lot of brands today that have to make things a certain way that wish they could probably offer you metalwork or chassis design and things of that nature that their brands may have even had back in the day. Look at Onkyo as a perfect example. I'm sure if Onkyo could, they would come out with a line of products, and they've kind of done this a little bit, but they would come out with a line of products that speaks to that heritage or that nostalgia vibe that everyone's kind of cashing in on. And like I said, they have done this, but they've had to do it within the confines of what people just are willing to accept from a brand with a badge that says Onkyo. You have a Mark Levinson product. Mark Levinson, throughout the history of its life, has been expensive. People go into that product knowing I'm going to spend money. It's like Ferrari, Porsche, you're going to spend money. Yes. Will a Honda Civic get you down the road? Yeah, absolutely it will. They're both cars. But there's just certain brands where people accept the luxury tax, if you will. And other brands like Onkyo that you simply will not, or you won't to that extent. We have to move past this argument where things were just better then and they're crap now. And if you buy it at a Best Buy, it's crap, but, because we have to kind of remember where we all came from. And we also have to remember what's important and what we're trying to accomplish here. A lot of you behind the scenes have leveled with me, and you're legit looking for solutions that are in an affordable price point. And I gotta tell you, so am I. So am I. Because I'll full disclosure, I am a recovering audiophile. I don't consider myself an audiophile. I am a recovering audiophile because I have spent tens upon tens of thousands of dollars on equipment. And I'm not talking about over the course of my career. I'm talking in one sitting. At one point, I had a custom installed home theater in my house that was probably nearing a six-figure price tag. And I know that it was because I took out a home equity line of credit to build it. And that is arguably one of the dumbest financial decisions I have ever made. And that was a big eye-opening experience because up until that point, I had been chasing this ideal that everything has to be dedicated, everything has to be purpose-built, blah, 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 to the point now where I look at all of that and I go, okay, I want something that enhances my life. I want something that I'm able to enjoy, that enriches me. And it's not about the specs. It's not about Am I hearing the perfect high frequency response? Am I getting the absolute just textural bass? It's about, on a whole, from the time that I decide I'm going to use this product, from the time that I decide I'm going to listen to this record, am I enjoying the experience? And then in that process, is it going to be relatable to you? And I think that's where we've kind of lost the thread. Is that the one thing I will say about Sound United and decisions like this and brands like this and business like this is the one thing that they make. The one thing Sound United is doing and doing well with the brands they are acquiring and aligning themselves with is they are staying relevant to you. They're making it possible for you to move upstream without just demolishing your bank account. And so we have to allow for the market to do what the market's going to do, and we have to just stay focused on what this is and what we're about. And what we're about is just enjoying ourselves and getting the most out of our source material. And for me, it's about enjoying myself and getting the most out of my source material without going broke doing it. And so while I will admit that, yes, I can hear the difference between a $10,000 XYZ and a $10 XYZ, that doesn't mean that I can justify, for me personally, that I can justify the difference between $10 and $10,000. I can make you aware, and that is up to you. But for me personally, I likely will never be able to justify that. So this is why when I get comments from people like, oh, he can't possibly know what he's talking about. Look at that turntable in the background. It's only a $200 turntable. Yeah, it's only a $200 turntable. Because I spend the bulk of my money on records. And if I buy a $5,000, $10,000 turntable, it doesn't leave a lot of money for records. And the purpose of owning a turntable is to listen to damn records. And I can sit there and say that my turntable at a roughly $200 gets me 90, 92, 93% of the way to a $5,000 table. And so is that extra $4,000 and change worth that 5% of difference? And for me, it's not. You have to make that decision for yourself, but we have to let go of this narrative that if something is inexpensive or affordable, it somehow can't possibly be good. And it's not just turntables, it's everything. It's absolutely everything. So that's my spiel, that's my rant. Not so much news, I guess, but hey, just something I had to get off my chest and share with all of you. Another piece of new news. I know some of you who follow Christy or myself on social media probably have seen some posts, especially stories where we have been asking you questions not only about your AV budget, but what kind of streaming services, music streaming services you use. And that is for a reason, because we are going to be diving headfirst into digital music playback and streaming here very, very soon. We've been working behind the scenes on a couple of concepts, ideas, and videos, and those are coming very soon. So my analog friends, my vinyl friends, we got you. We got you. This is the place. You're going to want to stay tuned. But for my digital fam out there that's like, man, I find you entertaining. I like your content. I like this, I like that. But boy, you just aren't talking to me. Stay tuned. We hear you, and trust us when we say we've got a lot of digital content, digital streaming music-based content coming, because, full disclosure, despite the channel and myself and Christy being very big in the vinyl community and love digging and doing that kind of a thing, the way we discover new music and the way we become fans of music and ultimately then decide if we're going to become fans enough to buy that band's records is through digital streaming. And so we're going to talk about it. You heard it here first. We're going to talk about it, and that's coming very soon. So what'd you think? What do you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments below. I really do love the dialogue, and I would really appreciate and love to hear your thoughts on today's noise complaints / Andrew just went off on the world's longest tangent. But anyway, thank you guys all so very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And until the next news story breaks, happy listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.